Welcome to Organize Zen Now. My name is Janie Downey. Thank you so much for joining me here today. So, Organize Zen is about getting to your best work. The organized part is about doing that in a way that works for you organizationally. So, some of us are naturally organized, like things in order. I'm one of those. And some people are not, but you still get to work. You get to the best work when you figure out some plan to get there. The Zen part comes in by figuring that out. What works for you for process, what works for you for timing, what works for you for giving yourself an incentive to really thinking things through to say, I've got a limited amount of time here. We have a natural deadline on Earth. What do I want to get done? And am I having fun? Am I contributing in some way? Am I connecting? And that combination is a calming piece. It makes you healthier. It makes your brain healthier. It makes your heart literally healthier when you are getting to stuff that you have made a decision on, and then you do, and you make the decision, and then you actually get it done to the best of your ability. And you're not measuring yourself against anybody. You're trying new things to figure out how to get there. I feel like our whole society is kind of reprioritizing this to say, I'm not just going to keep doing the same things I've been doing. I'm not just going to be irritated with life. I'm going to figure a way out to be joyous here and spread energy and spread joy, and then we all live in a better place. And isn't that lovely? If this resonates with you, if this is helpful in any way, please please share. Sharing's helpful to me. And then if you subscribe, that's helpful from the YouTube side, because the channel then gets picked up more, and other people who are looking for help on the same topic find it easier to get there. All right, so what I'm going to talk about today, a friend of mine last week who knows I love stuff like this, sent me an article from the New York Times. It was by David Brooks, and I like him as a writer. This was his article was on something he called social exercise. So we all know that we should be exercising and exercising our bodies. So social exercise is kind of exercising your soul. And what I loved with this article, he was quoting a new survey that's out, a new study. And he said the big takeaway was that people underestimate how much they'll enjoy a conversation, how open most people would be to it, and they underestimate what they can learn from starting a conversation with a stranger. So the premise of that was there's a big payoff to you actually opening up and starting conversations with people that you don't know, and that's an exercise. So if that's difficult for you, which it is for a lot of people, to say, okay, this is important, not just to me, but to how we all work together as a big social group. And can I weave some social exercise into my day? The key to success with that is being warm and being open, being friendly, being kind, and being trustworthy. So if you have a natural frowning face and you're trying to talk to a stranger, they may not talk to you. If you can push yourself to smile and connect, or find something funny, or just some way to connect with them and start a conversation, knowing every conversation doesn't work, but with the expectation to say, this is a human being. They have a story. They have a family. They came from somewhere. Maybe they have some key piece that they need to share with me that I can then think about, pass on, might become part of my life. So if you think back in your life, you think about how you met people, right? So you know your family, you were born into that, and maybe some neighbors and people that you went to school with. But a lot of people, you had to make an initial offering to figure out, like, if this is somebody that you're going to hang out with. And how many of us deeply appreciate when we're not the initiator of that, but somebody else is. When you join a new group, you walk into a room where you don't know anybody, how wonderful is it when somebody says, hi, I am so glad to meet you. What brought you here today? Where did you come from? How can I help you in some way? And I just moved to the DC area. I moved back here from growing up here, but I've been in New England most of my life. And coming back here, I've been pushed with this a lot because there's a lot of new groups here for me. And one of them is a singing group, and it's a big group, and I was assigned a mentor, but I didn't even find her for like the first 2 weeks. But the first night I was there, a woman named April said, hi, welcome, you're an alto too. Why don't you come out for drinks with us afterward? And I was just floored because it usually takes a while to kind of integrate yourself into a group. And I'm very good at holding back for a bit. But right from the start, she was just so warm and welcoming, and the people that went out are warm and welcoming, and it's become a really important group. My sister's part of it now as well. But gosh, don't we love it when somebody takes that risk with us? So what I'm asking you to hear today is to practice that as an exercise to say, how can I extend that to someone else? The downside, of course, is that you might end up with some awkward pieces. So I was with my daughter one time up in New York City, and we were on the subway, and she lives in New York. And I was chatting with this guy that was sitting next to us, and he had a guitar case with him. And I said, "Oh, you a musician?" And he said, "I work at a music store. I don't really love it, but I am a musician." And we were talking about his band and where he was playing. And when he got off the subway, my daughter just glared at me, and she said, "Mom, you should never live in New York City. You're going to get yourself killed because you can't just talk to strangers all the time." And I thought, you know what? You have to use your sixth sense. Like, you have to be smart. If this person had been, slathering on themselves, or I saw a gun peeking out from their belt, I wouldn't have opened up a conversation, but he had a guitar case. So, you're still using your intuition, but to say, is this a risky situation, or is this somebody that is a human? And what a fun conversation. I got this little glimpse of a life in New York City, and here I am telling you about it. It was years ago. So I think that's kind of cool. And then on that sixth sense side, I have to tell you this funny one here. So when I first moved in here, I'm in a rental, and I had to kind of dig out the front yard. It just had gotten weedy and mulched over, and I'm a gardener, and I don't have a garden now. So I just cleaned it up, and I found this sort of brick patio, but I had this big giant cement planter that was right in the middle of the pathway in. I'm like, well, this isn't going to work. Very bad feng shui. So I'm trying to move this thing, and it must weigh, I don't know, 60 pounds, and it's dead weight. It's down on the ground, and I'm turning it on its side so I can maybe roll it. And this big guy comes walking by my house. I don't know my way around here yet, right? So kind of stranger danger for me. And I kind of glanced, and I continued with my work, and he said, "Do you want some help with that?" And I said, "I do, actually." And he helped me roll it out of the way, and then he went on his way. So good for him. He extended a hand, and good for me. I accepted it. And it just was a good reminder that people in general are good, and people are helpful, and people are kind. And if you approach the world that way, bring yourself to the world that way, we create a better place. The other thing in that article from David Brooks that I wanted to share was that people underestimate how deep they can go into a conversation. They expect it to be shallow, how much they're going to like a person, and again, how much they're going to learn. And the idea is, again, we're social as a species, and we are so isolated these days. There was just an article that was talking about how kids are trained, to be wary of strangers. And I get that. We need to be wary of strangers. We also, if we're in trouble, we need to reach out, and people will generally help you. Not advocating for kids to reach out to get help, but as adults, we can take that on and to be social and get over the fear and realize that there is a payoff to making a connection. So my exercise for you is to use some social exercise this week, and to think, how can I reach out? What group am I in where somebody seems isolated? If you've been in there a long time, oh my gosh, what a great opportunity to look around and say, who's not connected? Who feels isolated? If you're in a new group, I just joined the Y. Oh my gosh, I've met so many nice people by just opening up about, I'm new here, what other classes do you like here? What do you recommend? And people super, super helpful. Now I have a new running group that I'm running with, women that I met from there. So the payoff is immense. If it's a bad story, it'll be a good story for you. But don't let that discourage you. Gosh, this week, take a chance and meet somebody new and start a conversation. Okay, I hope this is helpful. If it is, please like, share, and subscribe. And I hope I will see you here again at Organize Zen Now. Bye.